I'm a 29-year-old guy, and my wife is 32. We've been married for a little over 2 years. My wife agreed to something so crazy that it left me devastated and was the reason for the end of our relationship. She agreed to something she shouldn't have, and I had no choice but to make her regret her decision for the rest of her life. My name is Carl, and I met Julie when I was 25. We met at a club, and from the get-go, I could see that she was a wild one. I was out with my friends celebrating getting a job. She had come alone and owned the dance floor. I had been keeping an eye on her from a distance, trying not to be too obvious about it. However, when the song stopped playing, she came up to the bar and sat beside me. I tried to act as if I had not noticed her. She ordered shorts for herself and drank them one after the other without a break. She then looked at me and smiled and said, "Are you just going to keep looking or dance with me?" I was stunned by her straightforwardness. I was sure I was doing a good job of not trying to get her attention while checking her out. But I guess she did notice me. I'm not great at dancing, but I didn't want to miss this opportunity, so I decided to go and dance with her. We hit the dance floor and started dancing. I was in awe of her dance moves and felt embarrassed dancing beside her. She noticed that I was not much of a dancer, so she decided to take matters into her own hands. She used me as a pole and started swinging her body in a way that I could not. I was amazed at how easy it was. I was happy to let her enjoy herself. After dancing for a while, we decided to head to the bar for a few more drinks. We had a few drinks, and then she told me that she wanted to go somewhere quieter. I knew what this meant, and I took the opportunity without missing a beat. We left the club and started walking towards where my car was parked. On the way to the parking lot, I could see that she was unable to keep her hands to herself. We started kissing and making out as we walked towards my car. If I had to be honest, this has never happened to me in my entire life. I'd never been picked up by a girl from a club before. I got nervous and clumsy, which led to me dropping my car keys. She asked me to hurry before she changed her mind, so I quickly picked them up and unlocked the car. She got into the back seat and motioned for me to join her. I think she knew what she was doing, so I just followed her lead and got into the car. She locked it and looked at me, smiling, before starting to kiss me. She started taking off my shirt, and we ended up having sex. After about 15 minutes, she smiled at me and started getting dressed. She signaled me to unlock the car so that she could get out. As she was leaving, I realized that we hadn't exchanged names or numbers. I called out to her and said, "I never got your name." She started walking and said that she never told me her name. I asked her if I could get her number, and by the time I finished putting my jeans on, she had given me her number. I was already gone, and I was both satisfied and disappointed by what had happened. Well, at least I had a good time at the club today. I went back into the club to my friends, who were waiting to ask me about my date. I just gave them a knowing smile and decided to call it a night. I started my first job the next week. I was excited and dressed my best to make a good impression. I made sure I was on time for work to create a lasting impression on my bosses. I was on my way to my floor in the elevator when I saw someone I recognized at the back of the elevator. I couldn't remember where I'd seen her before. It was the girl from the club. I was pretty annoyed at myself for not recognizing her sooner. At least I knew where to find her. I'll just have to take the elevator at the same time tomorrow. The next day I got on the elevator and looked for the girl from the club. I could see her at the back of the elevator. I checked my watch and saw that I still had some time before I could show up for work. I decided to follow her to her floor and try to have a conversation with her. I was pretty sure she would have forgotten about me. I stood beside her in the elevator and asked her if she remembered me. She blushed and said that I might be the guy from the car, gave her a grin and passed on my phone. She gave me a questioning look and acted out as if she didn't understand what it was. I mouthed to her to type in her number on my phone. She said that she had to get off on the floor and left. I saw that I didn't have much time to persuade her, as I had to get back to work. I decided to try again tomorrow. After a few days of persuasion, I finally got to know her name and her number. I guess she was just too easy to get, and that's why she was playing hard to get. I finally managed to win her trust and get her number. We started having our little chats in the elevator every day. We took it a step further and decided to move it to a cafe. We started talking more and more and developed feelings for each other. We started dating officially after 3 months. We were like a perfect balance between wild and calm all the time. We were always pushing each other to try new things, while also finding comfort in each other's presence. Our relationship was filled with adventure and spontaneity, but also with moments of tranquility and deep connection. We supported each other's dreams and aspirations, always encouraging one another to reach for the stars. It was a beautiful balance that made our love grow stronger with each passing day. After about 6 months, we started living together to save money as we worked. We leased an apartment in the same building as our workplace. We would go out to clubs, dance like crazy, and get wasted. It was initially very overwhelming, but as days went by, I started getting averse to the idea of going all out every time she had received a promotion. This led to added responsibilities at work, which meant that our going out every weekend to a new party reduced drastically. I was enjoying the peace and quiet that we were able to have. After living together for a year, she proposed that we get married. I was a little apprehensive, as I thought that she might not be the kind of person to settle down. She enjoyed partying, drinking, and being sociable, but when she proposed to me for marriage, I realized that she might actually be looking for something more serious. We had a big wedding, inviting our friends and family. It was a day I would remember for the rest of my life. I thought things were going well, and we were able to understand each other better after we got married. I'd also been promoted at work, and we were earning enough to support our basic needs and enjoy luxuries. It was almost 2 years since we'd been married, but apart from a few minor arguments and disagreements, we were very happy. Julie had changed a lot after our wedding. She'd become a little more responsible. Her wild and party-going nature had almost disappeared. It was as if this was a new and better version of her. It felt like a dream that Julie was once a wild beast. She was up for a promotion very soon. She was very positive that she would be the one getting it, as she had worked her ass off to make sure that everyone was pleased by her performance. When the results were announced, she was disappointed to say the least. She came home early and was in a foul mood. She said she was frustrated because she knew she was the reason the promotion got dissolved. She mentioned that the girl who got the promotion wasn't experienced enough and only got it because she was fooling around with her boss. I didn't know how things worked in her office, so I didn't think it was right for me to comment. Julie started arguments with me just because I wasn't siding with her and bad-mouthing the girl who got promoted. She told me I should stick by her side and agree with her because what I said was true. I made myself distant to give her time to process and accept the reality. The biggest problem with Julie was that it had been 2 years, and she was still in the same role she started with since our marriage, with no sign of a promotion on the horizon. She joked that she might have to sleep with her boss for her too. I never thought much of it because I knew it was just her frustration talking, but as time went on, I could see Julie getting more and more frustrated at not being able to get promoted. I tried to console her by telling her it was okay and that we were making enough money to afford the luxuries we wanted to spend on getting a promotion, which would only make her busier, and we would not be able to enjoy our life like we currently are. I tried to cheer her up, but she just argued with me. She even said that she'd be happy if I wasn't promoted, even though I was the right candidate. I was running out of ideas to make her happy. One day, Julie came up to me and asked if I'd have a problem with something she'd have to do for a promotion. I knew what she was thinking and where this conversation was going. I told her I believed in her abilities in this relationship and that I trusted her not to do anything stupid just for the sake of a promotion. She'd get it when she was ready and when it was the right time for her. I felt like she wanted me to say yes and that I didn't mind what you do to get a promotion. I could see that the thought of not getting promoted was eating her from the inside. I reassured her that I told her that her worth and value weren't solely determined by a promotion. I also reminded her that her dedication and hard work would eventually be recognized. I encouraged her to focus on personal growth rather than solely on external validation. I decided to take her out clubbing because that was something she really enjoyed. I thought that maybe if she got drunk and danced, it would help her to unwind. I thought a night out would be a good way to release all the tension and frustration she'd been building up for quite some time. I took her to the club where we first met and let her go all out. She smiled as we made our way in. She went straight for the bar and ordered a round of drinks. She drank them and hit the dance floor. I decided to stay at the bar and let her be by herself for some time. She started dancing in a sensual way, swaying her body to the beat of the music. I could see a few guys on the dance floor looking at her with lust in their eyes. She came back for a few more drinks, hugged me, and then said that she was going to dance some more, and left. When she started dancing, A group of boys gathered around her and started dancing, which made it difficult for me to keep a watch on her due to the boys blocking my view. I finished my drink and went to the dance floor. What I saw was pretty shocking and unbelievable. I saw that Julie was in the middle of the boys' group, and she was grinding her hips against one of the boys. The other guy had one of his hands on her thigh. One more guy had his hand on her stomach, very close to her breast. Julie was dancing, unaware of what was happening with her. I figured she was too drunk to realize what was going on. I quickly realized that it wasn't me she was dancing with, so I decided to step in and rescue her. I was about to break up the circle the boys had formed when I saw that Julie had taken the hand on her thigh and pushed it a little further up. I knew she was too drunk to realize what was going on around her. I was just about to take her back to my side when she turned towards the guy she was grinding and started kissing him. She also took the hands of both the guys. She put each hand on one of her hips, which really annoyed me. I pulled her away from them. She pushed me and told me to back off. She said that she was here to have fun and would do as she pleased. I couldn't tell if she was joking or serious. From what I could see, she meant every word. The boys tried to push me away and ask me to mind my own business. I pulled Julie towards me and I told her to calm down. She pleaded with me, saying that she just wanted to forget that we're married for a day so that she can feel loved. I was really angry when I heard what she had to say. I agreed to her request and said that she was free to do whatever she wanted. I knew it was time to teach her a lesson. I thought, why not? Two people can play this game. I left her alone with a group of boys. I decided to have some fun on my own. I started looking for someone I could hang out with. I saw a young girl in a sexy dress all by herself. I went over to her and started dancing with her. I asked her if she wanted to have a round of drinks with me. She said yes, so we went over to the bar and ordered a couple of shots. After we drank the shots, I took her hand and I made my way to the dance floor and spotted Julie, who was still surrounded by her friends. I decided to dance just beside them. I started dancing alongside the girl and whispered in her ear so that Julie could see us. I made sure to keep an eye on Julie from my periphery to make sure that she noticed what I was doing. The girl I was with was already a good dancer. She started dancing and using her hands. As I placed my hands all over her body, things started to heat up. I decided to kiss her. I made sure that my hands were at all the right places. I could see Julie fuming with anger and pushing the boys away who were clinging to her body. I could see Julie walking towards us. I ignored her and continued kissing the girl. Julie pulled me away from the girl and said that I was crossing the line. I made a very innocent face and told her that I just wanted to have fun, just like her. She was free to do whatever she pleased, and so was I. She looked unhappy about what I told her. She had no choice but to agree to it, as she'd started this. I went close to her and whispered, I agree with what you said earlier. I'm going to forget that we're married just for today and have fun as a single for the entire night. She was caught on her own words. As the night went on, I noticed that Julie was focused on me. She made sure I didn't interact with other girls and kept her attention on me. She wasn't just dancing but also trying to entertain me with her sweet gestures. She was dancing so sensually, kissing me and arousing me throughout the night to keep the mood going. I was enjoying it and started drinking more by the time we had to leave. We were pretty drunk and making out wherever we could. Some people in the club helped us get a cab so we could get home safely. We got in the cab and kept making out until we reached home. When we got home, we had a long and steamy sex session, which ended with us both falling asleep naked. We woke up with bad headaches and hangovers, and didn't remember much of what happened last night. I vaguely remembered. I ended up kissing a random girl because Julie had annoyed me for some reason. I asked Julie if she remembered anything from last night, and she said that she only remembered making out with me and coming home drunk. I don't remember why I had to kiss a girl if I was annoyed at Julie. I tried to remember it, which made my headache worse, so I decided to try to remember it later when I was more sober. It had been 2 months. It had been months since the club incident, and I still didn't remember everything from that night. Julie had become her own whining self, always complaining about how it wasn't fair for someone else to be promoted without any talent. I was tired of Julie whining all the time about the same thing, so I told her that if she was having a hard time at work, she could resign and find another It was a toxic place to work. This led to her becoming more furious and saying that she could take care of her own problems. She didn't need my help in making career choices. I didn't understand what I said was wrong for her to react this way. I was genuinely surprised by her reaction and felt confused about where I had gone wrong in my attempt to offer support. I realized that perhaps Julie was feeling overwhelmed and frustrated, and my suggestion may have come across as dismissive or insensitive. I gave her some space and thought about how I could communicate my intentions better in future. After 2 weeks, Julie told me that she'd received a promotion proposal from her boss. I didn't know why she was still sulking, as this was really good news. She didn't seem too happy about it, so I asked her more about it. She said that the offer comes with a catch. She'd have to spend a night with her boss. I was really angry and didn't know how to react. It was a bit of a no. I could tell that Julie must have done something pretty bold. I asked her if she'd complained to HR or if she'd slapped him for making such a bold offer. I was pretty surprised when she told him she was going to think about it and get back to him. I was like, are you serious? I mean, it was a simple no. Why would she even tell him that? She should have complained that he was asking for sexual favors. Come on, that's exactly what I would have done. If I were in her shoes, I'd be more surprised about the offer than I was. I couldn't understand what she was thinking. Was she really going to go ahead with this just for a promotion? Was she even in her right mind? I was so shocked I couldn't speak for the next 10 minutes. I thought I'd give her a break and talk to her tomorrow when she was in a better frame of mind. At breakfast, I asked her what she was planning to do about the offer. She told me that she's leaning towards accepting it. I was expecting her to have a clear mind after a good night's sleep and make the right decision. I was floored. There was no point arguing with her if she had already made up her mind, so I just had my breakfast and left for work. I knew that she would start an argument if I tried to reason with her. I didn't want to waste my early morning energy trying to explain how it would affect our relationship. This was a closed marriage, for goodness sake. She couldn't even make a decision without asking or consulting me first. And she put our relationship on the line for a promotion that very evening. I came home and made a call. Julie wasn't home yet, and I had no idea if she'd be coming home tonight, or I decided to give her a call to see what she was up to. She said she was on her way home and would be there in another 30 minutes. I knew this was a repetitive behavior of Julie. She often thinks about herself and is too selfish. In fact, I knew there was only one way to handle this. I wanted to show her how it felt if someone else did the same thing to her. I was waiting for Julie to get home so that I could start my plan. When she arrived home, she acted like nothing was wrong between us. She didn't even ask me if I was upset about how she told me about accepting the promotion. I was pretty shocked that she was so calm about the idea of spending the night with her boss. She said she'd been thinking about it and thought it was a good way to get a promotion. I was just nodding along and agreeing with her around 8:30 p.m. The doorbell rang, so I let Julie open the door. She saw a girl in her early 22s wearing a very tight and short dress standing at the door. Julie looked confused and was about to tell her that she might be at the wrong door. The girl confirmed the address and said that she had been called for her services here. Julie still looked puzzled and said that we did not require her services. That's when I walked towards the door and gave the girl a smile, motioning for her to come inside and make herself comfortable. Julie had no idea what was going on and looked at me with a confused expression. I told her that I'd called the girl for her services. I asked the girl to wait in the guest room for me. I made Julie sit on the couch and told her that she might not like what I was about to tell her, but it was something I had to do for my own success. I told her that I'd heard from my bosses that I would soon be up for a promotion, but the CEO had said that I wasn't suitable. I was feeling pretty tense and worried that I might not fit in with the new management. Once I got promoted, everyone had at least one mistress. They saw me as a very loyal and loving husband. They weren't ready to accept me in their circle because they thought I'd turn their backs on them and start sharing their secrets with their wives. So, I decided to open up our marriage. I could see that Julie was really happy about the news. I didn't give her a chance to speak and added that I know you've been offered a promotion with similar terms. It would be so easy if we just accepted the opportunities provided to us and made our way in our careers. She was in too much of a shock to respond. I didn't even wait for her reply and went to the guest bedroom and locked the door. I just wanted to scare her a little to make her realize her mistake. I asked the girl to act. I started moaning loudly like we were having sex. I switched off the lights and crouched down near the door to see if Julie was standing outside the room. She was. She was trying to make sure that it was all happening and I was not faking it. After 20 minutes, I opened the door and went into the living room to get some water. Julie was sitting on the couch fuming with anger. I asked her if she wanted some water. She looked at me with disgust and said she was going to spend the night with her boss the next night. She said it wasn't the first time and that she didn't have to think about it as much as she had for her previous promotion. That promotion came right before we got married. We were together for 2 years when she got promoted. Is that why it was easy? I couldn't believe that Julie would deny her boss and Stanley. Was it because she knew that having sex got another girl promoted? I was so confused. Then I remembered the girl in the guest room. I grabbed a bottle of water and ran to the door, slamming it shut. I couldn't believe that Julie would throw away 2 years of our relationship just to get promoted. I was just standing there, not doing anything. I cared about our marriage, so I told the girl that we had a new plan and that we would be doing it for real, but in another room. I would pay her extra for all the discomfort she had been through. I told Julie that I had something to show her and took her to our room. She followed me in a disinterested manner. When we were in the room, I made her sit on one of the chairs and took a belt and tied her hands to it. I made sure that it was secure enough for her not to free herself. I went downstairs and called. I knew that Julie was very possessive about me. She would never let any girl be too friendly with me. I knew that she had broken my trust, and though I didn't plan this, I knew that I had to make some difficult decisions today. I asked the girl to make the best love of her life. I first asked the girl to give me a lap dance. I made sure that Julie could see everything that was happening around her and regret her decision. She started the lap dance and I started enjoying it, but I made sure Julie could see everything. The girl started kissing me, and I kissed her back, looking at Julie from time to time. Julie was angry and begging me to stop. I told her this is how she made love to her boss to get her previous promotion. I started undressing the girl and kissed her neck. I looked at Julie and I asked her if her boss kissed her the same way. She just kept weeping and asking me to stop. Then I kissed her belly and asked her if she felt something. When her boss kissed her belly, she tried to look the other way, but I made sure her eyes were fixed on us. I didn't want her to miss anything that was going to happen in our room that night. I slowly took off the girl's panties and asked Julie if she remembered the color of the panties she was wearing on that day. When she slept with her boss, I asked her if she wore a sexy pair of lingerie to seduce her boss. I held the panties in my hand and showed them to Julie. I told her that I would like to see her in something like this in the future. It was too seductive and sexy. It would instantly turn on any guy. She kept begging and pleading with me to stop doing this. I told the girl to have sex with me right in front of where Julie was sitting. I did not want her to miss even a single thing. Maybe she could use any of these moves for her future promotions. The girl started giving me a hand job. I kissed Julie's thigh and asked her if she did something like this to her boss. She was pleading and sobbing. She had no answers to any of my questions. I was moaning with pleasure, and Julie started screaming that I can't do this to her. I was her husband. Surprisingly, the girl was too good, and I actually started enjoying it. I knew I was doing it out of spite, but the girl then went down on me, giving me all the pleasure. I was lost in a different world. When I turned, I could see Julie's face full of anger. I asked her in a whisper if she enjoyed doing this to her boss. She angrily turned her head the other way. It was very pleasurable. After this, the girl started kissing me and took my hands and put them on her breasts. I looked at Julie and asked her if they did this as well. She was now drowning in. She was crying and not even begging anymore. She knew there was no stopping me today. I started kissing the girl and making love to her. I was really enjoying it and forgot about Julie being in the room for the next 20 minutes. It was the best sex I'd had in a long time. When we were done, I asked Julie if she wanted to see some more. She looked disgusted and looked away. I paid the girl and thanked her for her services. I waited for the girl to get dressed and leave. I kept going until I reached the door. I untied Julie and caught her as she was about to hit me. I flipped her onto the bed and told her she had no right to accuse me. She was the one who cheated on me first when we were in a relationship. She had no guilt on her face. She said we weren't married, so she didn't have to tell me or ask permission to sleep with her boss. I felt ashamed to be married to someone like her. I told her that she was the one who left me with no choice but to stoop to such a level just to make her understand what she did wrong. It was as if she still did not understand the gravity of the situation. She still felt no shame or guilt in sleeping with her boss when we had been living together for almost 2 years. According to her, Trust and loyalty only begin after two people get married. I could not deal with her and left her alone. I went to the bathroom to clean myself under the shower. I kept thinking of all the good times we spent together. I had no idea how to move forward in this relationship. Would I ever be able to make her understand the importance of putting someone else before you? I want to go through all of that pain and agony again. I didn't have any answers to these questions right now. With all these questions on my mind, I decided to go to bed and think about it with a clear head tomorrow. I know what I did would come across as me being a cold-hearted jerk, but I knew that this was pretty important to make Julie understand the importance of relationships and keeping the trust after knowing her for all these years. I know I come across as a bit of a jerk, but I knew that this was pretty important to make Julie understand the importance of relationships and keeping the trust. After knowing her for all these years, I knew that this was the only language she understood, so I had to teach her in a way that would make her understand once and for all. I'm not looking for opinions or more judgment from people. I'm just here to tell my story and how things turned out between me and my wife. Thanks for being a part of this journey. I would appreciate if people give me any suggestions on whether I should continue being married to Julie or call it quits. Will this be a recurring problem in my life that I should be aware of? Or could it lead to a stronger bond between us? Please advise me so that I can take the next steps accordingly. I'd like to share my story and how things turned out between me and my wife. Thanks for being a part of this journey. I'd appreciate any suggestions on whether I should continue being married to Julie or call it quits. Will this be a recurring problem in my life that I should be aware of, or could it lead to a stronger bond between us? Please advise me so that I can take the next steps accordingly.